Brent's got a manager 3 or whatever.
Exactly.
So, I guess I'm answering your question. I'm not in favor of that.
Well, and I also think having the pay scales allows you to, some of the flexibility you have. I mean, you could start somebody out who maybe based on experience, you want to start out a little bit higher than somebody who's not.
And also, I think it's worth discussing now whether, I mean, there are a lot of nebulous conditions in that policy manual that I've read over and over and over that don't make a lot of sense as to how a person can be, increased in on their pay within a range or within a scale. I mean, there's all kinds of. Has anyone else read that part?
Is that something you brought to anybody's attention?
I believe we've talked about it before that.
I mean, are you
it's been
talking
years
within,
ago.
like, so
Talking about the
outside of
policy.
the merit, you're talking just in general how people can be assessed?
Right, there's a lot of latitude according to the pay policy that I don't think should be there. So maybe if we could just put a halt on everything and just say, let's go back, review the pay policy manual and see if it's even fair, and then work from that. Because you guys are already going off into, playing in the weeds on mark studies when no one's ever demonstrated that you cannot fill a job at a same or similar pay when someone leaves. That's just a fact of life. People leave and their jobs are almost always replaceable. I mean, that their positions can be replaced.
Yeah.
So until you show a mass exodus and the inability to fill those positions, then really a mark study is not, as Christy pointed out, is not really that relevant. And before we do any more pay, we really need to go back to the fundamentals and see what latitude there is for pay as a director sees it, for instance. I mean, do we need bonuses if a director can recommend to the city administrator that someone's pay be increased?
But don't all pay increases have to come before the governing body for approval? I mean, in terms of if we decide to reclass or we decide to alter?
No, according to the way that the policy manual reads now, it's and the salary ordinance, I believe, still says that the city administrator, is that not true? The city administrator has that was what we were operating on before Cheryl got here. Perhaps that's changed.
It doesn't say that. Go ahead, yes, it doesn't
Yeah.
say
Yes,
that.
thank you, Mary.
Please,
Yeah,
Mary.
it doesn't say that.
There are, in section 5, that talks about compensation and benefits, hiring salaries must be approved by the appropriate department director and the city administrator. Those are based on the level positions they're in, individuals' knowledge, skills, ability, and experience in the job. Those are taken very seriously and looked at internal equity as well as external market conditions. You have other conditions that employees can move through promotion, through demotion, through lateral transfers. People move from one job to another laterally. They don't get any pay increases for that. They're just moving. You know what, I can move over to parks and I'll learn something and maybe I can move up, or I'll move over to street. Those things happen. Those people don't get pay increases, but they've chosen to try to go a different route to build their career. Reclassifications, regrades, those are the things that we bring to you in the salary structure. Remember, we don't do salary ordinance anymore, but in the salary structure that you vote and approve. Those things cannot be done without your approval. Also, employees can work out of class if positions are vacant. Captain Moore was an example a while back. He worked as interim chief. Katie Asbury worked as interim city clerk. If positions are open, we work people out of class. You saw that on some of the pay that you saw in the newspaper. People said, why did this person be at 8 or 12? Well, they got a market and they're working out of class. That's an 8%. 3% market, 5% for working out of class. Those are the only things that we have besides the merit and the market that you all as policy governance vote. We cannot do, nor do we do, any type of increases that aren't approved by the policies that you all set and the policies in the policy manual. So that's all that's in there.
Well, that's not always the case, because there were increases when Mike Press was here that were not given the authority by the governing body, and we know that for a fact. So maybe that something has changed. But could you read that one part about reclassification and
It's very long.
Well, I know, and it's very confusing. There's just about any condition you can come up with, you can justify giving a pay raise.
Well,
No, sir.
That comes to us.
No, if the position is changed from one structure, moved up to another one, that requires council.
Well,
We-
let's just hear it.
Like
Let's
me to
hear
hear
let's
it?
hear what it says.
Actually, Larry, I think you could read that.
The relevance is, you're already working on the next phase of the salary, and I'm telling you right now that everything that I've seen in the past, the salaries probably need to be reworked from the bottom up. You don't need to
I
put more
agree.
bonuses
We're asking
in.
that.
We agree.
I think we're,
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, but why don't you defer to what Cheryl has recommended, which is, we've got some issues, and we're not quite ready for this merit increase to begin with, and let's go back and see if we can rework the basic structure to make it more fair and equitable, if that's what you think needs to be done.
Cheryl.
Let's go with her recommendation.
Cheryl, the conversation that you've heard from the other council members this evening, is that something that you think, given the timetable between now and the end of the year for the salary study, or between now and the end of the Q1 for 2015, can we get the things done that we've been talking about on the dais, aside from what Mr. Fodovich is talking about?
I can secure a vendor to do pay and comp, because I believe I can get that done from my signature authority. I can secure a vendor, ask them to provide us with a timeline that they can get the work completed in, and present that to council. It's my understanding that we can get, that with securing a vendor, we can get that work done in less than 6 months. So we can get that work completed for a pay and comp, based on what I'm hearing from the vendors, in less than 6 months. So Q1, which is March?
End of March?
End of March, yes, we would be able to tell you what a pay and comp vendor would have in terms of recommendations.
How does that sound?
That sounds fine, but in my opinion, we still need to budget in the salary dollars, I don't care what we call it, from my perspective, $230,000 for salary additional. However we decide at a later date, we're gonna break that out, it's fine with me, but
Okay.
I don't want us to not put anything in there, and then us have the study done and not be able to do anything.
Well, the 150 we're already on the hook on for COLA, for COLA, cost of living.
There's
So
not
that's-
been really discussion on eliminating the COLA aspect.
No.
And I don't know that we should.
So there's 150 for COLA, and I'm assuming that's pay and benefits and capers, correct? Is that all the pieces, or just base compensation?
That's just the 3%.
So now we've got more on
COLA.
top of the 150.
So what's the real number?
So what's the true number including the other?
35% on top of that, right?
Oh, no, it's not.
No, no, it's not that high.
No.
Can I ask, can we
The
talk about?
benefits are?
Not everybody even takes benefits.
Yeah, Chris?
So-
Yeah, can we, I mean, okay,
Yeah.
now I'm struggling with COLA.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
why would we, if we're doing a pay and comp study, and we're going to potentially adjust pays associated, and some of them may be much higher than the 3%, some of them maybe don't need adjusted, so why are we stuck on this 3% COLA increase if it's not gonna be neat, so let me give you an
Yeah,
example.
good
What if
point.
we have, let's use Jeff Stewart again, just because I'm gonna pick on him. But let's say the pay and comp comes back and says, hey, Jeff's making way too much money. You know what, he's outside of the realms. Why would we give him a 3% COLA increase? You know, I mean, sorry, Jeff. I just think that we don't
You're
know
right.
until we get in there. I mean, we can't keep
I agree
giving
with
these
Christie.
cost of living increases if people are outside, above
If-
the range.
That makes
If
sense.
we're taking everything and saying, okay, we're gonna do a comprehensive pay and comp study across all of our job codes and classifications and responsibilities and everything else, you're absolutely right. I mean, where does a 3% across the board COLA adjustment fit in that context? It may not for some individuals.
Right.
You're
Well,
absolutely right.
And I have a feeling that if it was supposed to take 2 or 3 years to get everybody to
Yep,
where they're supposed to be,
normalization.
we're probably going, the 150,000 that was meant for COLA, if we
Enough.
shifted it to market correction, and then kept the 80 for merit pool, I think that may be the way to go. Tori, you're gonna look like you wanna answer the question.
Oh,